Hey y'all, it's Sheri here from Scrappin with Sheri, and I wanted to take a minute to show you the Damask Flourish punch. This is a border punch that is so beautiful, and we played around with it at one of my crops a couple of weeks ago, and I just wanted to show you a couple of ideas that we came up with. Now, I'm going to scoot that to the side because I'm going to cut my papers first, and I'm using papers from the Deep in the Woods collection. I'm getting ready to work on some vacation pictures, so I thought this layout might work for that. Now, the first piece of paper that I picked up is one that I like both sides of, and I'll be using both sides. But we're going to cut the first cut at 4 inches. And I'm going to stick that postie on there so you'll know. I am putting this to the 4-inch mark on my trimmer, and I'm cutting 4 inches off. Now, because it's a 12-inch sheet of paper, that's going to leave me 8 inches here. And we are actually going to make good use of that, because we're going to make this 4-inch into a 4-inch square. And I'm going to cut that at the 4-inch again. And I have my 4-inch square. Now that leftover piece I'm not going to use right now. I'm going to open up the arm here. And I'm going to do basically the same thing with this 8-inch leftover piece. I'm going to cut it as an 8-inch square. And there we've got the 8-inch, but I'm going to flip this and use the back side of that. Now this other piece right here, this kind of has a textile look to it, a brown textile. I'm going to cut it at the 6-inch mark. And you guessed it, we're going to make a 6-inch square out of that, which also leaves me another piece to do more with if I choose to do that later. Another 6-inch here to make a 6-inch square, and I have 2 6-inch squares if I choose to do something with that. So I have a 4-inch, a 6-inch, and an 8-inch square, and I'm going to do one more as a 10-inch. Now, you're probably noticing that I'm doing all of these in even number increments. That's because the pattern on the Damask punch needs to work in 2-inch increments. The design is 2 inches wide, so if you do it in 2-inch increments, it makes your design come out like you want it to. All right, so we've got all of those different punches. And you know what? Now I'm thinking I may flip this way. So that's kind of a basic layout, but let's punch it with the punch and see what we get. So let's start with our 4-inch. And remember, with the Damask punch, you release on the back side just by popping that lever, and it's open and ready to go. Now, the punch has these 2 little line-up spots on the front if you want to just make a border. But because we're making a frame all the way around it, I'm going to be lining my paper up with these little silver lines on here. And a 4-inch piece of paper fits right in between those 2 silver lines. So I'm going to line that up between the 2 silver lines on the punch and turn. Line my straight edges up between the silver lines, punch and turn. And I keep doing that until I get all the way around. And that's with my little 4-inch piece of paper. All right, let's empty out all that extra. And look how pretty that is. Look how nice it looks against the darker background. And that's using the 4-inch piece of paper. Now I'm going to do my 6-inch, and the 6-inch is almost the same way, except it obviously doesn't fit between the 2 silver lines. So you can line it up on the silver line on this side or on the silver line on the left side. Either way, it doesn't matter. Just line it up on the silver line, punch once, and then when you slide it, you're going to make sure that the design covers up the little blue background behind there. And when the design covers the blue background, you punch again. Now look what that's leaving us. It's leaving us a block on each end. And that's so we can turn and we can do our punches again the same way we did last time. So we punch the little block off, and that gives us another damask design here that we're going to put over this blue area to cover up the blue, and punch again. Now if I kept punching, I would get half a design here, and that's why we keep leaving that block on the edge. And we're going to go ahead and do the other 2 sides of this. All right, now once we've got all of those sides punched on the 6-inch, you can tell it looks a little different than the 4. But look how pretty those are going to layer together. Now let's go back to our 8-inch. With the 8-inch, again, you're going to start with the paper right against one of those silver lines. Punch. But guess how many times we're going to punch this time? 3 times. And then we're going to turn where we've got that square edge. Line up our square on the little silver line. Punch again. Turn, punch, and turn. All right, so let's keep this one going. You can tell I'm not moving this terribly fast. And part of that is because this design is pretty intricate. And occasionally it'll get caught in there a little bit. Especially if you have a lot of garbage underneath it. So you need to be careful that you're not tearing your design as you move it through the punch. And I am using just designer paper. This designer paper is from the Deep in the Woods collection. And it works well with this punch. Some of the punches, if they're more intricate, seem to do better with cardstock, in my opinion. But this designer paper is working great in this punch. All right. And we've almost got our 8-inch done. There we go. Empty out all the excess. You see, it makes lots of garbage. All right, so we've got 3 of the punches done now. And we're going to do our very last one. And this was our 10-inch square. We had cut this one at 10. So we're going to line up on the side. And I always tend to line up on my left side. I don't know why. But you line up on the silver, punch and slide, making sure you're covering up the blue on the side that's showing. And this time we're doing 4 on each side. Now, I could go back the other direction. For those of you who don't know why I keep going left, I could line it up on this right side and do the exact same thing. Punch and slide and cover up the blue. Okay, and when I get to the edge where I've got that one little square piece, then I take that piece off and keep going. This punch is very versatile. I have used it for several different occasions already. All right, now I left the measurements on there so you could see. We started with a 10-inch square, an 8-inch square, a 6-inch square, and a 4-inch square. But now I'm going to take my posties off because we're just going to flip and flop these and see what we come up with. Now, I do like these colors here. My problem is I don't have nearly enough contrast there. So what if I go back with this one here? You could lay it out like this. We could go back with a darker in the center. We could lay them out so they're exactly lined up along each other. Now look at that. How pretty is that? And if we tape that down and chop it through the middle, this would make a great mid-page layout. I'll be playing with this later on today, and I will post the picture of the finished product in the comments. If you like this, the Damask Flourish Punch will be linked at the bottom. You can purchase that on my website or purchase it from your own advisor. And look for more ideas coming with the Damask Flourish Punch. This is a beautiful one, and I hope you'll enjoy playing with it and share some of your ideas. We'd like to see what you do. Until I see you again, happy scrapping.